He'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
Luka. Thank you. This man, thank you. Thank you. You are the son of Dallas. Thank you. Thank you. What a difference. What a difference a night of good rest and sleep makes for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, here on the All Things Mavs podcast, coming to you fresh off the W for the Mavs against the Houston Rockets, 113-100 victory in Houston, aka the armpit of Texas. We got the W. The Mavs are 3-4, inching back to 500. And Luka Doncic, this man right here on my shirt, I had to bring this shirt out. You know I had to, because the man just had his first triple-double of the season. I mean, the second out of a back-to-back. Are you happy now that he rested on that first night of a back-to-back? I mean, you kind of have to be, because the dude literally had a triple-double, and he played out of his mind. He was on another level and led the Mavs to a victory, and I'm hyped about it, and we're going to break it all down for you right here on the podcast. Now, before I get into it too far, I do want to let everyone know that, once again, nobody won the Venmo challenge. Nobody predicted the score correctly, but I want to give a shout out to Mavs for the chip. He predicted, or she predicted, that the Mavs would have 113 points in this game, but predicted that the Rockets would have 111. So, a little bit off, so we're going to up the ante one more time. I think it's going to be $13 for when the Mavs go against the Denver Nuggets later on this week. But let's just talk about Luka, man. I mean, what a night for the kid. I can't say enough about him. He was incredible. 33 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists in 38 minutes. 8 turnovers, but when you have 11 assists, it's okay. This was the 39th time in Luka Doncic's career that he has led the Dallas Mavericks in points, rebounds, and assists in a single game. Why does that matter? That just passed Dirk Nowitzki's franchise record. He had done it 38 times in his career. The next highest was Michael Finley, who had, looks like, 15 times in his career. But the most significant part about that, Luka has played 139 games in his career. Dirk played 1,522 games. He's 21 years old. This kid, I mean, I love watching Luka play. So again, 33, 16, and 11. The only other players that have put up 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 plus assists in a single game since 2018-2019 are Giannis Antetokounmpo, the back-to-back MVP winner, and Nikola Jokic. Both of them have done it twice since 2018-19. Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks, or actually in honor of Dirk, 3 times. 3 times he's done it since 2018-19, and most recent coming in this win. He is now, along with Magic Johnson and Ben Simmons, or he's up there with Magic Johnson and Ben Simmons. He's actually passed both of them to have the most, brain fart right there. He has the most triple doubles of anybody before turning 22 years old. And he got it done everywhere on the floor. The Rockets couldn't guard this guy all game long without fouling him. They had to foul him to stop him. And even then, it didn't stop him, because he went to the free throw line, shot 6 free throws, and made all 6. 100% from the free throw line. He also knocked down 3 3-pointers. 2 of them came in the first quarter, and one of them was a really deep 3 as well, and a step back. Again, 3 of 10 from 3 isn't great. 30% isn't awesome. But going into these 2 games, last night in Chicago, or the last 2 games that he played in, the Rockets, and then the game against the Miami Heat, making 2, going into both of those games, he was 9%, shooting 9% from 3. That'll bump up a little bit. If we can just get him to 30%, I will be happy. And then Rick Carlisle after the game was asked about Luka's conditioning. And here's what Rick said. I'll read you the quote. He said his preparation schedule was thrown off, and he just got behind on the curve. It's pretty clear now that he's working his way back to where he needs to be. Back-to-back games where he is finding his rhythm, and back-to-back wins in which Luka Doncic plays against 2 pretty good teams. Now, look, he was great against the Clippers, but he wasn't nearly as good as he was tonight or even in Miami. He really started to find his groove in Miami, and now he's getting 100% there with this Rockets game, this Rockets victory that he just had. And I am just blown away from what I've seen from him. But the other guy we got to talk about tonight, and I'm going to talk about a lot, including the starting lineup change, because there were some major changes, so stay tuned. But Tim Hardaway Jr. came off the bench. That was all part of the lineup change. And Tim Hardaway Jr., the man that had 12 points last night on 2 of 12 three-point shooting, comes off the bench tonight and gives you a 30-piece McNugget on 8 of 10 shooting from beyond the three-point arc and 11 of 14 from the field as a whole. So if you can't do math real well, that's 24 points from beyond the three-point arc. I mean, look, for a guy who's started almost every game since he's been a Maverick, to be able to come in here and come off the bench, Rick said it best. He said, Tim showed you what class and professionalism is by responding to that lineup change. That's what Rick said. That's Coach Carlisle's words. And I 100% agree. This is just the the first time for Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench since November of 2019. Remember, when he first came in Dallas last year, or I guess, it was his second season, but his first full season in Dallas, he was coming off the bench early on in the year, and he didn't look great. And so they moved him to a starter, and he hit his groove. Now we might see the opposite effect, where he hasn't been great as a starter, but his first night off the bench, he comes in, gives you 30 points, 7 rebounds, a couple of really clutch buckets when the Rockets started to inch closer in the fourth and the Mavs just took off because of what Tim Hardaway Jr. did off the bench. He was spectacular. In fact, he was the only player off the bench with a positive plus-minus at plus 18. Everybody else in the box score, and don't worry, I'll read you the box score here soon, but James Johnson, minus 22. Wes Iwundu, minus 4, although he only played 3 minutes. Dwight Powell, minus 9. We're going to talk about Dwight Powell. Trey Burke, minus 13. Again, I just want Bubble Burke back, and I haven't seen him yet. And then Jalen Brunson, minus 4, but Brunson actually had a really good second half, or a really good streak run in the second half. That really helped the Mavericks to get back on top. But, man, Tim off the bench was just phenomenal. And I literally, last night's post-game podcast, I asked you guys, do you want to trade Tim Hardaway Jr.? Okay, and I said no, so I'll pat myself on the back for that one, for saying no, because then he comes out and gives you a 30-burger. But now let me ask you this question, and get in the comments, because I want to interact with you guys about this one on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube. Do you want Tim permanently coming off the bench, or should he get back in the starting lineup? Now, Rick was asked about it, and he said that he basically declined to comment. All he said about the lineup change was that he felt that we needed to get bigger and more physical to be a better defensive team. And Tim Hardaway Jr. obviously isn't the biggest, most physical guy in the gym, so he wasn't going to get those minutes, and so he comes off the bench. But what do you guys think? Should Tim be the permanent sixth man? I mean, it's only been one game, but I'm kind of leaning that way as of right now. He obviously wants to be a starter. Everyone in the league wants to be a starter. But if he's going to score 30 points coming off the bench, why wouldn't you want to come off the bench and potentially win Sixth Man of the Year if you're going to do stuff like that every single night? By the way, another pat on my back. I just picked him up in my fantasy basketball league, and yeah, he's helping me win that one right now. So I know you're like, okay, well, if he came off the bench, what was the starting lineup like? And most of you guys probably watched the game, but if you didn't, here was your starting 5 tonight. Luka Doncic, of course. Dorian Finney-Smith, of course. Josh Richardson, of course. But then the 2 changes here. Maxi Kleber and our guy. The guy I've been pulling for on the All Things Mavs podcast since the beginning of the season. Willie Cauley-Stein. Thank the good Lord, and thank you, Coach Rick Carlisle, for making the change. Because here's what Willie did in 24 minutes of play. Shot 5 of 7 from the field, most of them being dunks, including a couple nice alley-oops. And I think the only missed shots he had, he had 1 shot blocked, because there are times where he looks a little weak around the rim. That's still true. And the other one was a missed alley-oop, I believe, early on in the first quarter. It was one of his first few shots. He went to the free throw line, shot 6 free throws, shot 5 of 6 from 3. That time in the Prestonwood gym, just shooting in repetition, obviously has paid off. 7 boards, 2 offensive boards, 2 assists, a steal, a block shot, and 15 points, a plus 18 in the box score. The first 5 minutes of the game, you could feel his presence. I think the first 2 minutes of the game, he gets a steal, and then he got 3 outlet passes, I believe. 2 of them were fouls, where he went to the free throw line, and the other one was one of the shots that he missed. But here's the biggest thing about Willie Cauley-Stein in the starting lineup that Dwight Powell doesn't give you. By the way, Dwight Powell tonight, 2 points, -9, 2 rebounds, 1 of 2 from the field, 0 of 0 from the three-point line, 0 of 0 from free throws. He did have a steal and 1 block shot. Actually, a pretty nice block shot on James Harden. But what Dwight Powell always gave you, and the reason I went to bat for him for so long, was because on the pick and roll with Luka Doncic, the defense had to defend Dwight Powell because he was so explosive and could go over the top of people and throw down an alley-oop. And so they had to defend him well in the oop. He hasn't been doing that this year. That Achilles injury, he's still recovering from it. He's not there, so he's not a threat. Willie Cauley-Stein is a legitimate 7 foot. Dwight Powell's shorter than Luka Doncic, and Willie Cauley-Stein can probably jump higher than Dwight Powell at this point in his career. You have to play him. You have to start him. You have to give him more minutes than any other big man on this team, not named Maxi Kleber or not named Kristaps Porzingis. Other than that, Cauley-Stein should be in the rotation or in the starting lineup every single stinking night. Now, there's still some things he doesn't do great. He gets out-muscled sometimes on rebounds. Sometimes he looks a little lost on offense. He's not perfect, but he is the best Porzingis replacement we have right now at the center position. And if this night didn't prove it, I don't know what else he has to do. I don't know what else we have to do on Twitter or on YouTube to keep calling people out to say, hey, he should start every single night. But he proved himself tonight in a very valuable way, and the Mavs got the win. Now, let's say the Mavs would have lost this. Let's go down a deep, dark path here. If the Mavs would have lost and the Mavs wouldn't have out-rebounded the Houston Rockets by 6, the Mavs won the rebound battle, actually. 51 rebounds. Oh, it wasn't 6. I did my math wrong. No. They had 51 rebounds. The Rockets, 35. Dallas showed up on the offensive or on the rebounding battle because they started 2 big guys in Maxi Kleber and Willie Cauley-Stein. Also, Maxi starting. Listen, he didn't have a good night offensively, but defensively, he makes an impact. Hustle-wise, he makes an impact. Rebounding-wise, makes a much bigger impact than tonight, more than anybody on the floor, except for Luka, who had 16. Luka Doncic, 16 rebounds. Oh my Lord, I can't believe this kid's on our team. Every day I wake up and I thank the good Lord that Luka Doncic is a Dallas Maverick. But man, let me get you the box score real quick. That was kind of the gist of the game. The Mavs won the first quarter big, 33-21. The second quarter was really, really ugly, but they still somehow managed to still lead going into halftime, and they tied the second quarter, 28 points apiece. Third quarter was bad. Houston had 28 points. The Mavs had 23. And then the fourth quarter, Dallas turned it on at the end there, 29 points to 23. And the Mavs ended up winning by 13 points on tonight's game. They're now up to 3-4, as I mentioned. Houston drops to 2-3. They'd probably be 3-3, but remember that first game against the Oklahoma City Thunder actually got canceled because Corona. That's why. But here's the box score for your Dallas Mavericks again. Luka Doncic, 33 points, 16 rebounds, 11 assists, 8 turnovers, plus 28 on the night. Next leading scorer was Tim Hardaway Jr., 30 points, 11-14 from the field, 7 boards for him. Josh Richardson, a good night offensively, 15 points, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. 15 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, a block, and a steal, 4 fouls for Willie Cauley-Stein. No points for Maxi Kleber, but he had 9 rebounds and 3 assists. Dorian Finney-Smith had 9 points, 4 boards, an assist, a steal, and a block. I mean, props to Dorian Finney-Smith. Great defense, and he made some threes when they mattered. And I know he's been frustrating this year, but I was really happy with what I got from him in tonight's game. And I think his defense is just so valuable. You have to have him in the game. And then the bench was as gross. That's what the bench was. Jalen Brunson, 6 points, 4 assists, 3 points for Trey Burke, 2 points for Dwight Powell, 0 for Wes Iwundu in 3 minutes, and 0 for James Johnson in 20 minutes. James Johnson was really bad tonight. I'm not going to talk about it because we won, and I'm not really that worried about James Johnson because I don't think he's going to play a major role, although I would like him to, but tonight was not one of those nights. Also, I don't know how I haven't mentioned this yet, but the officiating in tonight's game was boo-boo sauce. I mean, I cannot tell you how frustrating it was to watch all those technical fouls come in. If you missed it, DeMarcus Cousins actually got kicked out of the game for 2 technicals in 3 minutes of play. So, which brings me to the Rockets box score. James Harden led the way, or almost led the way. He had 21 points, 5 of 17 shooting, 10 assists. You know who his primary defenders were? Luka Doncic, and I guess there was 3, but Luka Doncic defended him a lot. Josh Richardson defended him a lot, and Dorian Finney-Smith defended him quite a bit as well. Christian Wood, 23 points, 7 rebounds. I would love to know how many of those points came when Willie and Maxey were off the floor because it felt like a majority of them. John Wall, 14 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. 0 points for PJ Tucker. He only took 1 shot. 5 points for David Nwaba, who I forgot was even in the league until this game came back around. Bruno Caboclo played 1 minute, scored 0 points. 8 points for Jayshawn Tate, who I actually like a lot. That's a fun guy, rookie. 8.6 rebounds, good defensive player for sure. He was a +5 in the box score. 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 block shots for Boogie in 3 minutes, and then he got the boot. 20 points from Eric Gordon, 5 points from Sterling Brown. And that was your entire box score for the Houston Rockets. And the Mavs got a big-time W. So, look, next game is against the Denver Nuggets. And I'm terrified to play Nikola Jokic. However, the Rockets went big tonight with PJ Tucker and Christian Wood. If the Nuggets go big with Nikola Jokic, which they will, and by the way, I don't think they'll have Michael Porter Jr. for that game, but the Nuggets are going to have Jokic, and Dallas is going to have to respond, and that means we're probably going to see more of Willie Cauley-Stein in the starting 5. At least we should. Even if it wasn't Nikola Jokic, I still think he should start. Now, the Nuggets have been struggling this year. They are 2 and 4, in their games. They just beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Jamal Murray came alive in that game with 36 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. I think for this game, by the way, Facundo Campazzo, who is my guy, played at Real Madrid. He had 15 points in that game off the bench. But what I do want to say is this. I think I'm going to do a more in-depth preview of this Nuggets game because we have 2 days off until the next game against Denver. And so when that comes, which will be, as I check the schedule, January 7th. Oh, Lord, it's a 9 o'clock game. That podcast isn't going to go out till like 1 a.m. Oh, well, I love you guys, so I'm going to do it anyway. But remember, if you're watching right now, make sure you predict the score of that game. So maybe you could win 13 or 12 bucks. 13 bucks for me here on the All Things Mavs channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Go give me a follow on Twitter at all_things_Mavs or my personal account at Jimmy_Crowther. I love you all. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up on this video. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like. And as always, go Mavs, baby.